Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to all of us. We have quite a global community with us again today. Our topic is what we call Witty Wits. For those of you that have been coming for a while, you'll know that Simone, Sophie, and myself did a similar presentation last year, and we were asked to do an update. So here we are showing you guys me in my bikini again. And so, what we wanted to start with was just some photos about what a story that built us into the women that we are today, if you will. And the reason that I chose that photo is not because I am wearing a bikini. It is, however, because I am in water and it's one of my earliest water days. Um, but really, it's because if you look at that board and the bucket and the ship, I did not play with Barbies. I played assembly line when I was a kid. I loved to build little cities and little process around everything. So I guess it is no surprise that I have now owned a process related trading company for 22 years. And to the bottom right in the photo, of course, is Nicole. So take it away.
Yeah, so that's me. I worked at a call center where I was doing service management for a furniture company. It was customer service week, and we wore our Service with a Smile t-shirts. It's actually one of my favorite pictures of myself, and it's because that's really where I got my roots of understanding how to implement services and how to actually provide good customer service, and how we should be doing it with a smile and how it makes more of an impact. However, we are more than just pretty smiles because we do bring a lot to the table as women. So yeah, I'll pass it over to Stacy.
And hello, everyone. So my photo there, it's me standing as what I call the ITSM Bard, which is a more recent sort of thing. And here's the thing. I was, you know what? I just don't give a fuck. That's pretty much what it boils down to. And I just want to let you all know if you are offended by bad language, I apologize in advance, but I also don't. And that's the thing is I am unapologetically myself. All right. It's taken me a very long time to get to this point, but I am unapologetically myself. And I just don't give a fuck. All right, back to you, Lisa.
Okay. So I'm going to hit you guys with some stats pretty quickly. So here in the United States, women hold only 25% of tech jobs, despite making up 51% of the population. According to our Census Bureau, women in tech earn approximately 81 cents for every dollar earned by their male counterparts. That is correct. I said 81 cents. What that means effectively, and I wish Adam Ray were here because this is more lies with statistics, but I did my best. That November 6th, you men in the United States could get up and walk out the door. You've made as much as we're going to make working all the way through December 31st. So, in real terms, what does that look like? That is an entire FIFA World Cup tournament. It is the length of an NFL preseason and training camp. It is an entire MLB postseason. It's 3 times longer than the Olympics. It is enough time to take 2 European vacations going completely around Europe. And it's basically the entire Hallmark Christmas movie season. So, and the pay gap is no means unique in the United States. In Australia, recent data indicates that women earn nearly $30,000 less annually than men, with 72% of employers paying men more than women. And the UK has experienced a real decline in workplace gender equality, now ranking 18th on the PDW Women in Work Index, and it's their lowest position in decades. Here in the United States, the pay gap decreased for the first time last year, and it continued or the last 2 years. It has now decreased for the first time in decades. So I had read what I thought was a really interesting article, how Britain discarded women technologists and lost its edge in computing. It's a little dated, it's from 2018. But when we were originally putting together this presentation, it was something I hit on for some of my statistics. So I just threw that out in the link. But, please know, we are not here to complain today. We are here to talk about collectively, you know, globally, even in this group in particular, what we can do to help women thrive in the tech industry. So we asked AI for a joke about why women excel in tech. Everybody ready for a bad dad joke? Because multitasking is a built-in feature, not just an add-on, was her reply. So next slide, if you, yeah, you did. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Yep.
So also, those of you that know me know that I call my AI Gwen. So as I was doing research for the original presentation, I kept coming on these old, I love vintage advertising. My degree is actually in advertising. And so I took one of what I found to be kind of the most heinous, and I gave it to Gwen and I said, remake this as a man, because this is how it feels, y'all. Just so you know. But, you know, we are, women have been shaping technology since the very beginning. I mean, I think a lot of you guys know that, from Ada Lovelace writing the first algorithm to my personal hero, Grace Hopper, inventing debugging, because yes, she literally pulled a bug out of the computer. So today we're here to celebrate that with a little wit and hopefully a little wisdom along the way. So Nicole.
So let's face it, there's really no GPS without Hetty. So his story is also about her story and all about being human and all of our quirks. And historical context is important, but the perspective that we take. However, we found this story is still the beginning of the chapters. And just to add a little piece around, Lisa's joke around I really do think that women are going to excel in the AI industry as we shape it, because as technology is going to be really focused on more of the programming side, we're going to need a lot more of the human side. And let's face it, I think us women are a little bit better at that. So I'll turn that over to Stacy.
Oh, I have to agree, but the thing is, we're not as evolved as we think we are. And that's kind of like really painful to say, but we need to think more than just equality. We need to think about equity. Like I've worked in teams where emails have been sent to everyone, and the greeting line has been, "Hey, gents." I'm like, dude, I'm not a gent. And when I went to somebody to say, look, could you maybe use folks? I'd even be happy with guys, even though guys are still a bit more gender specific. I was ignored. And then the next email, gents was actually bolded and underlined. And I'm just going, all right, shots fired. Okay. And then I'm the one who gets the talking to after all that for making things uncomfortable because I asked for a little bit of equity there. The flip side of that, though, there is a flip side. I've had the pleasure to work with some absolutely amazing men who are there and they are all about equity. They sit back and they shine the light on their female colleagues and encourage us females to be in those spaces where we belong. We are still fighting to overcome gender bias. We are still trying to look for these mentors, and we are still challenging these outdated norms. It's not all doom and gloom. I just want to point this out because we're changing the narrative every single day. Many of us here are changing that narrative. Collaboration is becoming a key word in the technology industry, especially now as we are looking at things like Industry 5.0, and we're looking at the fact that we need that more of that human story, not just history or her story. All right. Through our frameworks, through the things that we are doing in the working, we're seeing more mentoring, we're seeing more advocating. And as we push forward, we are seeing more spaces being created where everyone can thrive. And we're going to continue to do that again. Next slide, Nicole. All right. Is this me again?
Yep. Sorry. Yep.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say,
Apologies.
go back one slide so we can appreciate the imagery that Gwen created.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Sorry, it's a bit warm in the hospital at the moment. I'm a little bit scattered. I apologize. So,
all good.
As I just said, as women, we don't choose to be in these situations. We could not, at the time of birth, choose our sex, but we have stories. Every single woman that you talk to has a story. Speaking of stories, Nicole's got a really interesting one.
And just to let everybody know, I am going to swear. So hopefully or say an appropriate word, however you take that. But I once had a boss who told me that in a conversation that we should just put our dicks out on the table and see which one was bigger. And that comment has stuck with me my entire career. In that moment, I decided to stay silent because I didn't know what to say to a male boss that was 20 years older. But what do you say to a boss that says that to you? Looking back at it, I wish that I would have had the more confidence to use my voice and stand up for myself. And that is part of working in a male-dominated industry is hearing those comments and having them being able to impact your confidence and your, but having the strong emotional intelligence to go with it can help branch from that. So it's really important, to be twice as good, to be as half as good. And we have inherent gender differences, and to often organizations understand the high risk nature and consequences of mistreatment of their male employees, which is gender pay. It's not administration or a logistical issue. So going on to the next slide here. So to all the women out there, you're not broken. The world is trying to convince you otherwise, and they'll tell you to shrink and to stay silent and to be small, but you were never meant to be hidden. You will walk into rooms where no one likes you, and you're going to sit at tables where your voice trembles and your ideas are questioned, and you'll wonder if you belong, and you do. And that is the one thing that I absolutely love about this community is that I think we all feel like we belong. So, and I did in my story, I quietly took it where I take it. But however, I think my friend Stacy did not do that. So I'm going to pass it over to her.
No, no, I speak out. And you know what? If no one likes me at the table, that's fine because I'm going to turn it all on that head. I'm going to be that scorpion because I'm a Scorpio, yo, instead of the soft-spoken woman. You want to silence me? I'm going to speak louder. You know what? And this is going to be a little bit of a crass joke and apologies in advance, but people often joke about men having big, you know what? Women have them too, except ours are up here. All right? We're not here to fill quotas, okay? We're not here to be the one woman in the room because they need to have some woman in there. We are here to break that ceiling. We are here to be that voice, and we are not going to let people tell us how we need to be or how we need to act. This kitten has claws. And I am not about to pander to the patriarchy. Next slide.
So there are days when silence feels safer, but silence doesn't change the world. Your presence is not an accident. Your voice is not a mistake. So I challenge to speak up, take up the space, challenge different thoughts, break the process, break the cycles, and rebuild. Next, I'm going to pass it over to Lisa.
Amen. I recently wrote a blog that just the whole thing hit me as an idea and it came out in like 7 minutes. One of those just, I have the thought and I need to write this down. And it was that, okay, technically there's 2 letters, but from a sound perspective, there's only 1 letter difference between invisible and invincible. And I have realize that, part of the challenge is all the history and all the things that got us here. But still, there is a really early career disparity. The largest gender pay gap in tech globally is observed in early careers, with women under 25 earning an average 29% less than their male peers. And there's lots of reasons. Let's be honest. Young women have babies. Young men also have babies. But, we're expected to leave work and take care of the children. And so that at the very beginning sets us off on a career path where it is unlikely that we're going to be able to have the same trajectory as our spouse or our male counterparts. So the helping younger women in particular understand that they are allowed to feel invincible is something that, from the first time we did this presentation to today is something I've really evolved on. Because, as I like to say, as the slide actually says, what can you guys do to help? And this is when I say you guys, what can we all do to help? Because I think there also is some level of responsibility for women who have gotten to places in their career where we're like, no, this is BS. So, helping women who are newer in the workplace or have a more naturally wired, tentative personality than, say, Stacy or even myself have. It takes one cool guy, because I can't tell you early in my career. And when we said earlier, every woman has a story, I I would bet that if we asked all the women in this call today, has it ever happened, or even more likely, how many times has it happened to you that you were sitting in a meeting and you had an idea, it got completely glossed over. 10, 15, 20 minutes later, a man said the same exact thing, and all of a sudden it is a great idea and it's going to get traction. So, just being cognizant of voices that aren't being heard and helping amplify those voices. And, an easy way to do that is give credit where credit is due. If somebody in your team or someone in your ecosystem has done, and this is for men too, but has done something of credit and of note, I highly recommend taking time to share and point out their accomplishments and their achievements. For a lot of us, we're probably not really in a position to directly impact pay scales, but to advocate for equity and equality, I think, is really important. As always, challenge the stereotypes, call out inappropriate comments or microaggressions. Or, I, in my first job post-college, when I did a good job, guess what my male boss did? Patted me on the ass. The worst part of the story, it didn't faze me, because I'd been a cocktail waitress and a bartender all the way through college. I was used to it. Now I look back on it, and first of all, I'm glad I wasn't fazed, because then that would have made it hard to come into work the next day. Blah, blah, blah. But I just imagine, just the man touched my ass 10 times a week. Like, that's okay. No. Sorry, we're really laying the curse bombs down today, ladies. And I would wonder if men were doing the presentation and saying ass, if they also would apologize. Well, David Barrow would for sure. I know that. So anyway, I think our point is, please try to lead by example. Be cognizant of challenges that, whether it's women or people of color or men also can have challenges in the workplace. Just really try to stay open to it and try to support and help where you can. Next slide, please. As you guys know, this is really one of my favorite expressions, because I say this to myself about myself. Y'all, I would never talk to anybody else the way I talk to myself. I mean, I am really hard on old Lisa Schwartz. So if you're but I'm also really celebrate myself. So if you're gonna be your own hardest critic, man, also know that you can be your own biggest cheerleader. And I do think across the lines, women have a lot more challenge with that than men in workplace environments.
Oh,
so Stacy,
100%.
you wanna close us out there, friend?
Yep. At the end of the day, look, technology is not just about lines of code. It's not just about algorithms, latest AI buzzword, or networks or servers. It's also about the people that are behind the scenes, the problem solvers, the innovators, the game changers. And the thing is if history has told us anything, it's that women in tech have been all three. So here's the thing, and for anyone who's watching this video or anyone who's here today, every woman out there who is debugging systems or breaking the barriers and proving that they're not just there to fill a quota, babes, you've got this. Be your own biggest cheerleader. Make sure that you are in those rooms taking those spaces, because you deserve it, just like the rest of us do.
Nicole?
And with this, I just want to say thanks, and let's keep coding the future, and one Witty comeback at a time.